He was called a hero, a protector, a devil, and a dragon. A ruler who faced down the might of the Ottoman Empire with brutality so terrifying that legends would be written about him for centuries. But this is no fiction. This is the true story of Vlad Tepes, and by the time you finish this, you'll understand why his life was far darker than any vampire myth. Before Vlad was known as the Impaler, he was just a boy torn from his home and his family. Imagine being only 12 years old, dragged from the cold stone walls of your father's fortress into the heart of a foreign empire. That's where Vlad's story begins. Alongside his younger brother, Radu, Vlad was sent as a hostage to the Ottoman court. It was a deal made by their father, Vlad II Dracula, to secure Wallachia's safety from the ever-expanding Ottoman Empire. For 6 long years, Vlad lived under the constant gaze of his captors, the foreign air thick with spices and constant tension, the whispers of political intrigue around every corner. But unlike his brother, who grew to admire the Ottoman ways, Vlad hardened against them. He watched their strategies, their military prowess, and most of all, their cruelty. His father, Vlad II, wasn't just any ruler. He was a member of the Order of the Dragon, an elite group of Christian knights sworn to defend Europe against the Ottoman Turks. Dracul meant dragon, a title of honor, but in the dark whispers of Wallachia, it is also carried another meaning: devil. Vlad, the son of Dracul, became known as Draculea, the son of the dragon, or, as his enemies would soon call him, the son of the devil. When Vlad returned to Wallachia, he wasn't the same boy who had left. His father had been betrayed and murdered, his land torn apart by enemies from within and without. It was a kingdom at the crossroads of 2 empires, caught between the Hungarians and the Ottoman forces, constantly threatened by war. Vlad, shaped by his years of captivity, was no longer just a prince. He was a weapon. Now, imagine a ruler so feared that even his allies didn't trust him. When Vlad ascended to the throne, he ruled Wallachia with an iron fist. He needed to crush the corruption that had weakened his kingdom, and he did it through sheer terror. Let's pause here. Can you hear the slow, agonizing sound as a sharp stake is driven into the cold mud, carrying the body of a traitor or enemy with it? Impalement wasn't just a punishment, it was a message to rebels, to foreign invaders, to anyone who dared challenge him. Vlad would impale thousands. Some estimates put the number at 20,000 or more. Fields of bodies on stakes, lining the road of Wallachia like grotesque, bloody sentinels. His enemies called him Vlad the Impaler, and the name stuck. But his cruelty wasn't senseless. In a land torn apart by betrayal and constant invasion, Vlad believed that only fear could hold power in these dark times. And hold it, he did. The Ottoman Empire, led by the ambitious Sultan Mehmed II, had long sought to bring Wallachia under its control. They demanded tribute from Vlad, but Vlad wasn't one to bow to foreign powers. Instead, he decided to strike back. In one of his most daring military moves, Vlad launched what became known as the night attack at Targovishte. Imagine the darkness. The Ottoman camp, massive and sprawling, lies quiet under the stars. And then, total chaos. Vlad's forces descended upon them, hoping to assassinate the Sultan himself. Though the attack ultimately failed, the message was clear: Wallachia would not be subdued without a fight. But this wasn't the end of Vlad's war on the Ottomans. As Mehmed II pushed deeper into Wallachia, his army encountered something out of their darkest nightmares. Imagine marching through a dense forest, only to realize it's not trees that surround you, but bloody stakes, thousands of them, each bearing the impaled body of a fallen soldier or traitor. The stench thick, the sight so horrifying that even battle-hardened Ottoman soldiers hesitated and vomited. Vlad's tactics were gruesome, but they worked. It wasn't just about killing the enemy, it was about breaking their will to fight. Some legends go even further, claiming that Vlad drank the blood and dined upon the impaled bodies of his enemies, dipping even his bread in their blood. Were these stories true? Perhaps. But it's clear that Vlad understood the power of myth and fear. He wielded it like a sword, cutting down any who stood in his way. But behind the impalements, behind the terror, there was a man fighting for survival. Wallachia was a small, vulnerable kingdom surrounded by enemies on all sides. His brutality was, in many ways, a reflection of the times. The Ottomans were a constant threat, seeking to expand their empire into Europe. Vlad's resistance wasn't just a personal vendetta, it was a fight to keep his homeland from falling into foreign hands. To the people of Wallachia, Vlad wasn't just a monster, he was a protector. He crushed the boyars, the corrupt nobles who had betrayed his father, and he established order where there had once been chaos. And while his methods were brutal, he succeeded in defending Wallachia from foreign domination. To this day, Vlad is considered a national hero in Romania, revered for his fierce resistance against the Ottomans and his role in preserving his country's independence. Yet, Vlad's story is also one of betrayal. After years of conflict, he was captured, first by the Hungarians and later by the Ottomans. But even in captivity, Vlad never lost his resolve. Twice he returned to claim his throne, fighting to the very end. And his end? Shrouded in mystery. Some say he was killed in battle. Others claim he was betrayed by his own men. His body was never found. But his head, well, it was sent to the Sultan as proof of his death. But despite his violent life, Vlad's legacy exists far beyond his brutal reign. His story inspired one of the most iconic fictional characters in history, Dracula. Bram Stoker's novel took the name Dracula and transformed it into the vampire we know today. But the fact is, Vlad Tepes didn't need supernatural powers to instill fear. His real-life actions were far more terrifying than any myth. So, what can we learn from Vlad Tepes today? First, that power is often about perception. Vlad understood that by controlling his enemy's fear, he could control their actions. And second, sometimes leadership requires making hard, ruthless decisions. Vlad ruled in a time of chaos and darkness, and to protect his people, he became the monster that his enemies feared. Vlad Tepes' story is one of survival, brutal leadership, and unwavering resistance against overwhelming odds. His legend, both feared and revered, continues to haunt the pages of history. Today, his legacy endures as a source of inspiration for countless books and movies, fueling the imaginations of storytellers across generations. And if you've made it this far, you've seen a glimpse of the truth behind this legend. But there are many more stories like Vlad's waiting to be uncovered. So if you don't want to miss any of them, hit like and subscribe button because history's darkest corners hold lessons that we're still learning today. See you in the next chapter of history.